YouTube fan community, Muddy Waters fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we are here today to talk about Muddy Waters, Folk Singer, one of my favorite albums by Muddy Waters. This happens to be on a very ancient 1986 MCA slash chess record CD. Two for one, if you will, twofer, if you will. But yeah, the first half of this album is Muddy doing Big Bill Brunsey songs, and the second side or second half is the Folk Singer album. So 19 songs total, but we're just going to talk about Folk Singer today because that's the one I'm really interested in right now for talking about. This album is incredible it's renowned for its sound, where the room was an instrument. At this time, Muddy's star was on the rise. He had played the Newport Folk Festival and did insanely well there. And because of that, Chess Records, who he was with in Chicago, was like, hey, let's put out another album because, you're really hot right now. So they were like, okay, let's do it. And Muddy's band was kind of splintering off at that point. Some guys left, and he had to find some new people to jam with. And enters in Buddy Guy, the famous guy, the blues legend that would become Buddy Guy, comes in and plays on every single song on this album except for the last one. And their guitar interplay, we'll get into that. But it was just incredible how he found all these guys to play with, all these new faces, and some of his old band was there as well. But he brought in Willie Dixon, Otis Spann, Sam Lawhorn, James Madison, like all these people kind of joining his group at this point, kind of rounding it out. This record in particular, though, is very minimal. So almost nobody plays on this thing. It's like maybe 3 or 4 people at the most, if that. But it was recorded at Turmar Recording Studios in Chicago, produced by Willie Dixon in September of 1963. And like I said, this album, the room is an instrument. It is one of the most, as they say, unplugged or sparse albums you'll ever hear, but it's gorgeous because of that, because you just get the human element. It's just a soulful, bluesy ride. So it opens up with My Home Was in the Delta, which is like just the perfect way to start this thing off with that insanely gorgeous slide guitar, very minimal drums and bass, just kind of plopping along in the back there, but it allows Muddy's vocals to shine. And, it's just a quiet, chill jam, but the warmth to it is unbelievable. The reverb in the room is unreal. It makes Muddy's voice sound epic. When he does his dynamics, when he goes from quiet to loud, you're there for the journey. It's a roller coaster of emotions, and you feel his storytelling. You always did with Muddy, but it's a great way to start the record. And then Long Distance comes up next. And I love how in his delivery, you expect to have a couple of lyric lines, and then there might just be nothing. And instead he'll say, like, ease my worried mind, and go into the solo or go into a little riff break. You can hear the trouble in his voice, the pain in his voice as he's telling the story. But just the same kind of chill tempo as the first track. But, that slide solo, it says very little, but because of that, it says everything. That loneliness, that desperation, that wanting to connect isn't there. And that slide solo says all of that. My Captain was written by Willie Dixon, and this is a song that captures the use of empty space perfectly. Muddy's dynamic voice can range anywhere from belting it out to kind of a cool whisper, and the guitars just kind of riff around him at that point. It's just... Again, I'm going to say this a lot. The use of empty space in this album is insane, because when you use empty space wisely, your imagination fills in those blanks and you feel what they're trying to convey. But this is a longer track. This one actually goes over 5 minutes long, but you're there for the whole ride. It's an incredible song. Good Morning Schoolgirl comes after that one by Sonny Boy Williamson. And this one bounces along pretty well. It's good riffs on this one, snappy, steady snare drums, good bass accents, really tight playing. Like, these guys knew how to read each other very well. You're Gonna Need Me comes up next. You're Gonna Need My Help comes up next. Slow blues, Muddy soars above this thing vocally. It's insane. The slide guitar accents are fantastic. Really crispy, punchy snare hits. Very calm bass. And again, the room is an instrument. Cold Weather Blues follows that one up. And it's definitely it's got that bleak, empty feeling of like, either experiencing, the cold from someone, getting the cold shoulder, or going through a season of cold. Just an era of longing, unhappiness, and trying to find that comfort and find that warmth. But the way he raises his voice, I mean, this whole song is almost done as a whisper, but when he raises his voice, it's moving. It almost gives you goosebumps, it gives you chills. Like, the guitar riffing is so sparse on this, jamming with his voice. But holy moly, what a ride of a song because of that. Big Leg Woman follows that one up by John Temple. A vocal growler on this one. He just sounds guttural throughout this thing. It's really fascinating. Again, minimal guitar joins him. But I love how in the middle, instead of just having a standard solo, it's like strummed a bit and then picked. Strummed a bit and then picked. Really cool. Country Boy. He's not just a hoochie coochie man. He's a country boy. Return of the slide guitar with this one. And, it's a song about, like, no matter what he does or where he goes, he's going to love his girl. It's okay. The slide guitar in this one isn't used a lot, but when it is used, it's very effective. And the last track on the album, Feel Like Going Home, this is just Muddy by himself, and he's sliding it up on this one. It's all about looking for that happy place, where it all makes sense. His voice at the end of the song gets a little weary, and I kind of like how it ends almost sounding a little unsure, and it ends with that long slide note at the very end. But this record is just raw, real, and honest. It's something you just don't hear from a major label. It didn't chart anywhere, but it got so critically acclaimed, and it's been a album that's been reissued a bunch of times. And from what I've heard, almost every reissue sounds great, which I can imagine because they recorded it so well. They put all that reverb or just using the room, and it sounds so incredible. You feel the guitar strings get plucked. You can almost hear them, the pick hitting the coils on the strings themselves. You are involved inside the song. It's an incredible album. Here's what the inside of this particular version looks like. And the cover for this is actually really imaginative for 1986. So it folds out. Little story about the albums. Folds out again. Little Muddy Waters thing there. And you get a full fold-out color insert with the original liner notes to both albums, song credits, titles, who played on what. So very imaginative booklet for 1986. You don't see stuff like that from back then. A lot of things were just kind of black and white and boring, but they really went above and beyond with this packaging. This is an album that it's funny because, like, I adore this album, but I don't play it that often. But when I do put it on, it always blows my mind. Like, the playing is so skillful and intuitive and emotive, and the vocal delivery is just from the heart. You feel every vocal take. It's one of those albums that you listen to and you just listen to it and you just enjoy it. You put it on, maybe you have a drink, whatever you're drinking, and you just look at the CD or the record and just lose yourself with the storytelling, the exquisite playing, and feeling like you're in the room with them. You could just imagine looking over to different corners and seeing the guys with their headphones on, playing their guitars and looking at each other and no one come in. And you get that spirit from this album. 9 out of 10, hands down. It's one of the best albums ever made. If you're a blues fan, you're going to love it. If you've never heard it before and want to hear something emotive and expressive and a little raw, check this out. Folk Singer by Muddy Waters. I can't recommend this album enough. It's one of those albums you don't forget because of its production or lack thereof. It's just the room. The room sounds good. It's one of those things. But 9 out of 10. No problem there. My name is Giggens. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think about this record in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.